Hey everybody, we are live for Musty Wargamers Season 8, Episode 5. How's everybody doing?
Well, it's okay.
I'm fine.
I'm good. I'm good.
Last show of the year, I think.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless we do a New Year's Eve party or something.
What day is New Year's Eve on? I don't even know.
Tuesday, right?
Tuesday night or something like that.
Tuesday night.
Wednesday.
All day Tuesday.
I see.
Oh yeah, yeah. New Year's Eve. All day. Yeah.
It should be what?
How long it's been since I've actually partied on a New Year's Eve. It's like it's just another day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't do that anymore.
I'd say you have to go back to the mid '80s. The last time I did that.
Looks like we got Curtis in the house already. He joined in. He was
Oh, hey,
in
Curtis.
there asking about our topics prior to the show starting. And yeah. So
Tuesday the 31st, obviously, but
Obviously.
12 days from now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I can't believe
um,
Christmas is next week.
Yes, exactly. It's insane.
Well, today's my brother's birthday, so
Well, happy birthday to your brother.
Yeah.
He turns a big 62.
62. Good Lord.
Hey, watch it, guys. Hey.
Well, I'm not saying he should be casket shopping or anything.
Well, it sounded like it.
It's like, oh my god.
It was like a gasp of like, oh, 5 years older than him. So,
The humanity.
oh God.
No, what's the worst that could happen, right?
Right.
Just so you know, some people are not sensitive in the room. Anyways. Let's see here. Well, Tim,
Yes.
what are you working on tonight, and what have you been up to
Well,
lately?
I know my video I did. I was talking about my Vikings that I've been working on a lot, and they're from Victrix, obviously, and not obviously. I've got Warlord Games stuff too. I've got some Gripping Beast and that sort of stuff. I'm working on the chainmail tonight on some of the armored guys, and just working on some easy stuff. Got another unit assembled. I finally got my. What did I do with them? I had them. I got some of the.
Where are they? Where'd they go?
The banners and stuff finally come in. There it is.
Are those little big men, or
little big man.
nice?
Yeah,
Those are good.
yeah. Oh yeah, I got one. I put one on. Hold on a second. Oh, he's up here. I still haven't got my Little Big Man Studios shield transfers in, so the unit's really not kind of done. But this is.
Oh, nice.
Nice, yeah. They look good. That looks really good.
Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They
have really good stuff.
Oh yeah, I just.
Once you learn how to use them.
Yeah. Once you get your method down, yeah, they're great. I love them.
They're not like the most intuitive, just like without looking at the instructions.
Well, what they started to do, I've noticed, is they add these in there.
Yeah.
To give you a guide on how to do this, because these are the first banners I've ever used. I've used the shield transfers,
right?
But I've never done the banners.
Yeah.
And so this is a new. It's a little bit of a learning process for them,
right?
Because it's a little bit different than what I normally do. So I'm happy that they do this. I think this is really a good idea, because back in the day when they first started, they didn't put anything like this in.
I think it was like on YouTube or something. They had like a video.
You had to kind of figure it out on your own.
Yeah.
And it was so funny the first time I got them, and there was nothing in there to tell you how to do them. Oh, I messed them up so bad.
I messed up at least one.
Oh yeah. And but it's going to be this next year is going to be Dark Ages, Vikings, and more Vikings, and Saxons and Normans and
Norm.
oh, and I
Oh,
what did I do with it? Oh, what came in today was my I got this wattle and timber building.
Oh, okay.
I say I have pretty much a good collection of Viking stuff anyway,
Yeah.
and of buildings and stuff.
What's
Plus,
the
I got-
brand on that, Tim? I can't. It's reflecting.
What
Oh,
is it?
Renedra.
Renedra.
Rendra. Yeah.
We all three say it a different way.
Renedra.
Renedra. I don't know. Is that a French company? Or
I thought it was UK, isn't it?
yeah, it's out of the UK, but I don't know if it started there or not.
Yeah, I couldn't say. I thought it was a British company, but
Yeah, it says the UK. But,
That's one thing. That's one real good reason to have a 3D printer. Is some of those ones they have lots of files, but those look like they're really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The reason I
usually-
keep looking over my shoulder is because my big screen is over there.
Uh-huh.
But I've got my camera over here where I'm actually painting, and it's kind of weird. I'm not used to looking at the camera but not having the screen, so I know who I'm talking to. But this
You're driving a trailer backwards with the camera.
yeah, I'm talking
Using your
to
mirrors.
I'm talking to the corner of the room.
Look, wait a second.
Yeah.
Here.
Where am I? Where am I going?
Hey, you know how Warlord always sends you a little extra something in the boxes?
Yeah.
I got more AWI.
Which sprue?
I got the
Is it
the
Prussians.
Continental Infantry Command Sprue.
I was gonna say it looks like a command sprue. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done a couple bazillion of those. It feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're
well,
fiddly.
I'm just going to crack it open. What am I keep dropping? Oh, I dropped my eyeglasses, everything.
You dropped your
I am a
eyeballs.
wreck tonight. I am a wreck. I have dropped things. I broke another spear. Gee.
Oh no.
Good grief.
Oh, I know. It's just
I want to call it.
like these stupid meat hooks I have for hands.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, it could be dainty fingers.
No, I'm no, not anywhere near Danny.
Well, it's Renedric. Most of their stuff's pretty affordable too. Is the thing I noticed.
I've got like I got a bunch of
That's awesome.
tents and stuff for
Mhm.
my Saxons too to make it like a little camp.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be fun
Nice.
to put together.
I did one of those churches. Somebody else did one on the Musty page too, like the Renedra Church.
Mhm.
And they're really they have good kits.
I've got their farm animals and
Yeah.
their gravestone cemetery one.
Is that for wargaming, or do you just like to have the farm animal?
I just I'm trying to raise them. I'm gonna see if I can.
You're gonna compare them.
Have
How
babies.
realistic?
Yeah. No, I use them for bolt action, obviously.
Obviously.
I mean, if you've ever heard me talk about wargaming, bolt action comes up.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't that long ago? We all talked about it.
yeah.
Yuck leg.
It was good.
What are you working on, Rusty?
Well, good question. Lots of different things tonight.
Yeah, I've seen your posts. You've been a busy man.
I would show the 2 items that I've worked on and finished, but they are now packaged up for Christmas. So I'm not going to unwrap them to show them off.
But you showed them on the Musty page, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So the 2
So
items
if you
you're talking
haven't, it's like if you haven't seen them on Palmer's, tonight on Palmer's channel, go over the Musty page and look them up. I shared both of them.
Yep.
Which was the Stargate.
Yeah. That was freaking cool.
That is
Yeah.
so awesome.
So I printed off this first one of these. It's like it came out a little crooked and warped, so I printed a different one.
Is it where you talked about using them for coasters or something?
Yeah, like
Did you not? Okay.
I'll just have to cure them and then use them as coasters here or something. It works.
Yeah.
Seal
It'd be
them up
cool
with
if you had little
sealant.
LEDs on the side of them too.
Yeah.
I had thought about
your glass down and have it light up.
Mhm.
if I do, because the one you've seen, that's 1/10 scale.
Okay.
I can print it in 1/6 scale, which is the size of you've seen the Daredevil and Elektra that's on my shelf over there.
Yes.
How big those
bigger.
are?
That's 1/6.
Yeah, that's 1/6 scale.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, so I could print those off, and I thought about it's like because they're going to be hollow if I do them that big,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have the LED light systems. I'm thinking about drilling a hole up underneath where the Stargate is, the event horizon, so I could have a light shining up and turn it into a night light. Because it would be big enough I could hide the battery up inside it. So
that'd be pretty cool.
Print one at 1/1 scale and we see if we can go through it. I'll try it.
The next thing you know, it's like Earth might have problems because then they'll just put an Anactron bomb through it and just nuke Earth because after we close it off, they don't want us to come back.
Well, oh well, it's been a good ride. It's fine.
Yeah.
Des Moines, Iowa has the first 1-to-1 scale Stargate put together by Rusty.
You can take it over to the Iowa State Fair and forget about parking cars. $100 per trip through or whatever.
Everybody gets special hats.
Yeah, they open her up and say, "Hey, who wants to go to a new world?" And then when you get them all through, and it's like, where'd they all go? Are they coming back?
Have to be back before the fair's over. You're out of luck.
They're now explorers on a new mission. But tonight I'm going to be working on my Death Guard guys here.
Oh yeah,
these little guys.
Yep. It's a bit on your desk. Yep.
You can see there's more work done with them. So I think in the video all I had done was just the shoulder pads. Now I'm working on the guns and stuff.
Coming around. Yeah.
Yeah. So I haven't done any work on them today because with doctor's appointment and running around and all that kind of stuff, I hadn't had time. So there's that. So today, finally getting some work done tonight. And then I still got to do this unboxing of something.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
What the heck? Oh, that's just shiny box.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can see the Christmas lights in it.
Yeah.
Reflecting.
That's
based
cool.
on a movie or a show that's come out too, right?
The movie came out Friday, I think it did.
Yeah, this last week here.
There's a whole bunch of nice little coolie stuff in there. So there's even terrain.
And it's got the full hardcover rule book, or not? Is that right?
Yeah, there's going to be well, I shared the pictures of the local Warhammer store.
Yep, they opened it up.
Because I seen it because they just got in. I was picking up my Death Guard sled transfers.
Yeah.
And he was just opened the box up and he was like, "Oh, look at what we got." And I was like, "Ooh, that's cool. I wonder what's inside." And he says, "Crack it open. Let's see." Like,
that's cool.
So I got to see the first person in Iowa.
What were your opinion of the minis then? Are they quite a step up from the original plastic minis or not so much?
I think they're an improvement on the originals.
Will they scale perfectly well, do you think?
I think so. The details seem to be a lot better.
Yeah. I have a bunch of the Riders of Rohan and from that one of the plastic, the original plastic ones. And I just wondered if sometimes they have the tendency to get some scale creep even in that. So I just was curious if they stylistically obviously look exactly the same because it's from the movie, but I didn't know if they're bigger or chunkier.
I think they might be scaled up slightly more.
I wondered.
Because they seem to fill up the base more than the other.
Or maybe they're more dynamic too, but because the Perry brothers, of course, sculpted most of the original range, and I remember when I got the very first miniatures from Lord of the Rings, and I was like, wow, they're not like as big and chunky as like Warhammer stuff was. They were even more realistic scale or whatever you want to call it.
Right. Yeah, they're closer to true 25s, I believe.
Yeah. Yep.
Now this new ones I think might be a little closer
28.
to 27, maybe. Just a
Okay.
little bit bigger, they seem like.
Or sometimes it's not even just the height, but just the chunkiness, of them.
Yeah, I think they're more bulky. I think that's the big thing.
Yeah.
Instead of spindly like the other models. Because even the orcs seem spindly.
Yeah.
When you look at them, because they were designed, 20 years ago or something like that?
Yeah, and then I remember, I followed that really close when it came out, and when the very first movies came out, they released the box set, and I got each of those box sets, and that was the thing, is it was supposed to be, I forget what they called it, but, more realistic scale, and
I think that what they call it, like true 28.
yeah, it was something, they called
like
it something, and they made a thing out of it.
Yeah, most of the GW stuff, like the fantasy stuff, is heroic, like 30, 32.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
larger.
think it makes sense in some ways because it originally it originally came out after the movies, right? Like the original movies,
It came out like in the January when the movie came out in December. That was kind of how the release was.
Yeah. So if that's the case, they were trying to go to have them look like the people in the movies, and
yes,
and if you're going to do that, it's best not to do heroic then,
right?
Like,
correct.
Because they're not going to look the same if you do it that way, And so that it makes sense to me that they tried to make them look like actors and stuff.
Yeah, and that's cool. I mean, I liked it.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen them, well, at least with the Urukai and all those the bigger ones that actually make them more bulky.
Mm-hmm.
Where they seem like they're taking up space like they should be.
Yeah, I liked the realistic scale. The look just like the movies. I liked that. I was all about that.
Well, the Urukai are supposed to be like 6'5", in scale for actual height in the books and stuff. So they're big.
Well,
bulky.
they vary in height, and
well, the goblins
They're not all 6'5".
They're all not, so.
No, the goblins would be larger or smaller. They're the spindly little guys, and then you get the normal orcs, and you get the Urukai, which are big, beefy orcs.
Right on.
What's your musty drink tonight, Rusty?
I've already been partaking of it.
I think I saw something earlier.
Saw something flash by.
Tonight I'm doing Dewar's Caribbean Smooth.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Caribbean Smooth Dewar's.
So imagine.
So it's a Scotch?
Yes, it's Scotch. It's rum. It's Dewar's Scotch that's been aged in rum casks.
Oh, that's nice. Cool.
Yeah, so you got that.
I like when they do that. Like
it
bourbon.
tastes like it has rum aspect in it through and through. So it's really nice.
Nice.
But it has a slight smokiness to it
Mm-hmm.
that you typically find with Dewar's. So it's not bad.
Good.
So that's what I got. I haven't played any games, and other than working on getting Christmas gifts done, I've started this week on working on 30K. So that's it.
Sweet.
I
bet
did.
you down. Oh, go ahead, Rusty. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Saturday, I am going to play a game of BattleTech on Saturday.
BattleTech.
Drink water.
Score.
That's right. Well, I'll have to go into mine in a second. So, how about you, Dan? What have you been up to?
I have been working on I picked a project, which I put a couple of pictures up, I think, on the Musty Wargamers page, but started on my 15 millimeter ACW
With the
project.
Rebel Yell.
Yes.
Yeah. Because I looked on, I still had the ticket in the box. I got it in July of 22.
Yeah, that sounds right.
They ended up being a 40% off or something at Old Glory 15s. And
I think they were having the Christmas in July sale or something.
yeah, that's exactly what it was. So it's the 30% off, and then you got another if you spent $100, and then there was another 10 because the wars in the Americas or something because of Independence Day was another 10% on top of it or something.
Yeah, they had a lot off that.
Yeah,
time.
so definitely if you're getting Old Glory 15, so you can always wait for a sale because the 30% thing comes up pretty regular. So I got the starter army set for the Confederates, And so that's my goal. I'm gonna do that's, as you know, I will stick to a project, and I'm gonna at least get that much done.
So what you're trying to say is I should be working on my as soon as I get these Death Guard done, I should be really working hard and getting my 15 for Union.
Well, I wouldn't say you need to launch right into it, because your pace and my pace are different. Like you could probably knock them out. Like when I'm down to my last 3 units or something, you could start.
Well, I do have 70 of these guys to finish, so it's
well, it'll be a hot minute then. But
yeah.
So yeah, I did 1 regiment of 8. I'm basing them on the Fire and Fury type bases, which is for infantry is inch by 3/4 inch, and you put 3 50 mil guys on that. And yes, and so I've got 1 regiment of 8 stands done, including the command stand. That's kind of how they package them in the when you get the Army starter set. You get 8 regiments like that. So I'm actually tonight I'm gonna probably finish up the 2nd regiment painting. Then they just need to be glued on their bases. I'm waiting on. I haven't posted a final product yet because I ordered. I guess it was probably the first week of December. Still, the Black Friday sale was going on for some grass tufts. I kind of wanted to get. I've got some 6 mil that I use for my 28 mils, but which not that I wouldn't maybe throw a couple of those on, because some of them are a little shorter. But I wanted some 2 millimeter tufts. I thought that might look a little better. So I wanted to see what they look like before I figure out what kind of flocking I want to do that kind of goes with that, but also contrasts. So I'm waiting on those to come yet. And yeah, so I'm working on that. That I have really been enjoying it. I don't know. For some reason, after doing all that terrain, I was having a little bit of a hard time getting motivated to paint 28s again, because when you do terrain, it's a lot of just kind of, I don't know, you're just kind of slopping paint. I mean, it's more of, it's not detail work for the most part. And so I was a little wondering if I could still do that.
Not to interrupt, but Neil has joined in the house.
Hey, Neil.
We don't normally see Neil too often on the show, so he looks like he said because he's over on the other side of the pond. Says that it's the plus of not sleeping. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope that's not a bad thing. Yeah, welcome, Neil.
Hopefully it's not contagious.
So yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good. Anyway, so but I got kind of wanting to try the 15s because that's been in the back of my head. So been really loving that. That's really actually been tons of fun. I'm still figuring out my painting style. I go for really a lot of pretty aggressive contrasts, so they really pop on the table.
Yeah.
And which is kind of my style anyway. I'm just doing it on a smaller. So yep. So that's been great. And then I've got my Christmas. I always buy some miniatures.
Yes.
For my kids to paint it for Christmas.
Yeah.
And my one daughter lives in Denver now. She came home for Thanksgiving for a week and decided not to come home for Christmas then. She's got some work stuff, and her boyfriend's got his mom and dad are out there. So anyway, so she's kind of tied up. So that bought me a little extra time. We're going to be seeing her somewhere around the first week of January. So I'm just going to take it to her then. But
nice.
So I'll be working on that as soon as I finish this regiment, and then back on sticking to the ACW is the plan.
There you go. So, get it all in.
Yeah, I don't have a musty drink really. It's Kirkland sparkling water is what I'm drinking.
There you go.
Orange. That's me.
Well, you guys might have seen that I am just working on these guys. I just since I even put it up there, I'm doing about 25 of these miniature. And these are the French grenadiers, and basically I got the blue cuffs and the blue sort of pants that go below the leggings. I've got that. I have this leader, which I've done this miniature before. You can see the blue a little bit more because his coat's open, but officer. But essentially I'm doing like a lot of these, and so I might work on the skin tonight, but everything I'm doing is assembly line with these 25, and so it's taken me a little while. And then I showed them. I'm not really working on them right now, but I kind of got them ready. I showed one of them on the page, but I'm not sure if I showed this one. These are Julie Guthrie fantasy personalities from the 80s.
Yeah,
And so so I have one of those. That's like a
cool.
female elven warrior, I believe, and I've got a hobbit. These are all females actually that I have. This is a female
Cool.
hobbit. It's a nice little sculpt.
Yeah.
And then I have it's kind of blurry. I know this camera's not the greatest for up close. Oh, well, actually, that's not true. Just when I said that, it's like, what are you talking about? So there you go. That's the
Start working out.
elven thief. And then I've got the female hobbit. Like I said, maybe I can show a little better. It's a really nice sculpt.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's very reminiscent of some of the Lord of the Rings animation, I think, almost.
Yeah,
From the way they look.
100%.
You know, it looks pretty good. And then this was the warrior.
Warriors.
Cool.
Yeah.
So is that for role playing, or are you just doing it for fun?
Well, it's a little of both. Like it's not for role playing. Actually, I shouldn't say it's a little of both. I'm doing it for fun for sure, because I had these since that time. Like I actually used to buy these at that time. Many of these, I am starting to purchase them now. These fantasy lords that were sculpted by Julie Guthrie.
Yeah.
I am starting to pick some of them up again, but I have a lot of them from back then, and I wanted to paint them now that I've been painting more than I used to. During that time, I would just throw on the enamels, right? And I didn't know how to paint. Like I just kind of splash on like enamels, and then I also would like to try them in like skirmish games, you know, and just to try and have fun painting and using some of the old kind of the D&D sort of personalities and stuff that they used to make these for in some skirmish games. And I had some rule sets that I was looking at for that, thinking about. Unusual, but I haven't been gaming much. I was sick for probably 6 weeks, I would say. I had that long viral cough that I'd never had before, but it's apparently a thing now, particularly since COVID. But like I'd never had this like ongoing cough to the degree that I'd had it.
Well, they had been saying it's been walking pneumonia going around.
Yeah, I mean, I worried about that, actually. I'm glad I didn't have it. I did get a chest x-ray, and it was okay. But so that kind of hampered my gaming for a bit. But aside from that, that's the painting. And, still interested in playing Old World, but now I'm looking at picking up Sharp Practice again for these miniatures and stuff and some other things. And so, and then, Bolt Action, of course, be coming up soon. So, so that's about that. I'm actually not sick anymore, but I feel like I'm such a weakling lately, just always talking about my frailties on here. But I actually had very little sleep last night, and I just, am not going to drink tonight. So it's pretty rare I don't have a drink on this show, but I'm just having since it's the end of the year, I just grabbed a fancy Pellegrino, and I'm just drinking this bottle of Pellegrino sparkling water while we're hanging out.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Just
keep it hydrated.
Yeah, sparkling carbonated alcoholic water.
Yeah. Shall we do a little bit just a few comments here? We should probably take a look at them real quick here before we start our first topic. So Curtis says our winter warmer painting challenge starts tomorrow. Gotta get my is that Flames of War?
Flames of War. He's doing.
Yeah. I would imagine so. Awesome.
He's doing
That's
a
cool.
set. I forget which one he said, but
nice.
Was it on the beach or something like that?
No, or was it Africa or something? I can't remember. I saw it posted. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I'm
Some
sure he'll
starter
update us in the
Yep,
comments
he'll
there.
fill us in if he's still here.
Neil says, got lots of different stuff on my table at the moment. Think I'll put my ACW project up for the winter warmer. Have a couple of regiments, an ambulance, and a cottage to build. Plus Dan Sickles.
Cool.
General Dan Sickles.
And Ralph Partha Classics. Talking about the miniatures I put up there. I do have some Ralph Partha. These ones were actually Grenadier.
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 That's okay. We'll keep working on you.
Yeah,
You'll get it. You'll get it one day.
One of these days. It's just one
Not
of those. It's
You
like
got a
mimosa.
50% chance.
You know what it is my wife has the same issue with mimosa and samosa. I just and no matter what I do, those two words are the same to me for some reason. Like I just say both at the wrong time all the time.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, just say one, then say the other right
Yeah,
after.
It's all good.
And so, nice Neil, sounds like a solid project. 2.5 months. Not sure what that one was referring to in the conversation. I'm sure that's specific.
I think he's maybe talking about that winter wargaming challenge.
Oh, the challenge. Okay.
Yeah, he starts it here on the 20th, and then it goes through February or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have the same on and off cough. Had an X-ray, all clear, just won't go. Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like cough so much that my throat was inflamed. They even said it was swollen, and it was a certain point where it was just inflammation that was just keeping me coughing. That was it. Crazy. And I'm doing the Hit the Beach set and the DAX.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what I said.
My
That's
bad.
what I
Cool.
said, yeah.
You were right. I was wrong.
Awesome. Well, I don't know. I think that this is probably enough for a good discussion among the audience as well as, in the chat. Looks like we have GM Cody has joined the room. Hey, GM Cody, thanks for joining.
Yeah, hey.
And so we kind of have this as two topics in a way tonight. Like we're just going to start out with this year, and then we're going to move to next year on the second part. And so this could actually be really however you want to talk about it, in the sense that it could be what you're doing, what you've done in this last year, and what your main focus has been, or kind of like reflections on what's happened in the industry that you either have or have not gotten into, this year. And then we're going to kind of do the same for our expectations for upcoming of what we're interested in, expectations for next year and how the industry is looking, anything new coming out that we're interested in. I do think that this year actually had a lot of stuff come out, like when you actually sit back and think about it.
Yes.
But so who would like to go first?
What do you want to
everyone
do? You want to just
once.
Do you want to do a year in review first, and then all around for that, and then
we'll talk about next year after.
Okay.
After we'll do comments and stuff, and after this year, and then and then we'll.
I can start, I guess.
All right.
I guess for me, as is typical, I did get some bolt action games in with Mark. Mostly, I think. Kind of January, February is kind of when we get some time together. So that was always fun. He's been coming over to my place, so we're using all my terrain. So we played our last game that we played together was on the old Normandy table, basically, that I have. So, and then that was my really main focus all this calendar year was getting that table, the Stalingrad table done, which is done. And that felt good because I pretty much worked on that steady for about 1.5 years, was mostly all I did. So I was happy with that. That all came together about the way I'd hoped. It was always trying to be a balance between, having a table that visually looks really good, but also is playable and also was super modular. All the different buildings could be swung around and hooked together different ways so that, you can pretty much, because I toyed with doing 2x2 tiles and stuff and really getting super detailed, but, then I've done that before on even just back before I even really wargamed. We just played, we set up things like that for like Army Men, and we made up games, but you get to learn where I know it's 12 inches. Even if you rotate the board the other way, it's like between this building and this building, I know what that is. And in the same spots, you end up kind of contesting over. So I wanted something that was just completely could change it. So I was happy with that. So that worked out well. And then And then, yeah, I guess another big highlight, of course, this year for me was the Old World coming out, actually coming out. And that was kind of fun to let myself get sucked a little bit into the hype, especially because the first army being released and with the starter set was the Bretonians, which is my army that I love. So that was fun. And then it was fun to actually finally get together with at least 3 of us here, and which fun to meet Palmer the first time. That was fun, and playing some serious Old World. That was, I'll never forget that, because that was just, I've never played a single game of Warhammer Fantasy, and that was my first time, and it was kind of cool because it was even like it was the new happening thing. I'm never doing the new happening thing, so that was kind of cool.
Kind of feels neat, doesn't it? Like just once in a while,
it's feel like you're kind of in, I don't know, like you're in the know, like you're kind of just, you're doing what's happening, you know?
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun, and it happened to be my thing anyway. So that was great. Really enjoyed that. Haven't played a game since then, but of course then real life comes in the way there. But that was outstanding. Still super excited about that. And then like, I guess I think I talked about after the show had started about starting my ACW 15 mil project, which is super fun there. And that's just a thing where I think my first goal is just going to be to knock out the starter army, and then I'll move on to something else probably for a while, but then I'll keep it, because that'll be at least a playable force, even in Fire and Fury. Of course, you could use black powder too or whatever, but and then move on to a different thing, and I'll just have to see whether if I get, because that was the other big release this year for me personally, was Bolt Action 3rd Edition. So I'll have to see. Looks like Mark and I are going to be able to get together potentially here again in January after the holidays, and so I can get some games in finally of that and see what I think. And then if I need to, they've changed the army building and composition possibilities. So like you could include, 3 medium machine guns or something, and I don't have that many painted, so I'll have to. I want to get a few games in first to just kind of see if that's just, you can do that, but that's not something I would do or enjoy doing.
See how they do now.
Well, yeah. Well, because they've changed a lot of the core mechanics. I mean, just because you can legally do it doesn't mean that's either the play style that I'll enjoy, or Mark or Rusty, whoever I normally play with would like to play. So before I paint up a whole bunch of duplicates of things, I want to kind of see what I think and how I want to do it. But so potentially I would be painting up a few more just units like that to bulk out some of the armies to play different lists that I haven't played in the past because of the way the old system was.
I'm in the same boat. It's like
kind of wait and see.
Having the medium machine guns on the tripods and stuff, that's not something I had. I got one probably.
Yeah, and that's all you could ever have was one. Except for some really specialized army lists in army books, and just the way the list building was done before, and you could, they weren't the best, so they weren't a disaster, so it wasn't like you never included one, but a lot of times you'd play games against, or even your own army, where you wouldn't include one because it wasn't maybe the best use of points always. But now that sounds like it looks like they're gonna be. So whether or not then you're like tempted to take 2 of them, I don't know. So I'll be kind of checking some of that. I am thinking I would like to get back to painting some more Bretonians again too, especially while my eyesight is still good enough to do that to the level that I want. Because I know with Rusty I'd be able to get some, realistically be able to get some games in, which is usually.
Just look at Tim's visor or my visor.
Motivational. I use reading. I use reading glasses is what I use now.
See, I use reading glasses. Well, I use glasses that I used to use for reading, and the visor on top of them.
Yeah, and since I'm used to wearing glasses 24/7 anyway, this doesn't bother me. But so that's that'd be a possibility, or whatever strikes my fancy at the time. I can always. I've got a million things I don't even need to buy any miniatures. I've got some Lord of the Rings stuff I could work on. I can continue my ACW. I can go back to my AWI. I've got lots of things I'm super excited about. Didn't look at any new game systems other than the Old World, which I knew I would do.
We'll go to next year after.
Yeah,
Like,
oh,
we'll
I'm
go
just
to-
talking about this year. I didn't look
Oh,
at
this
any
year,
new
we're
games. You know, I
what's
didn't
left.
add just the old world, and I guess I did pick up, of course, third edition Bolt Action, and then I did get the muskets and not the muskets, Studio Tomahawks, 5s for victory, V for victory, but they claim it's 5 for victory because it's I don't know why they're doing that, but they insist that's what it means. But I did pick that up. Haven't played it. The book is attractive looking. It's a hardcover book. Comes with some cards, just like Muskets and Tomahawks. Gonna have a similar scale to what like Bolt Action would be, maybe slightly scaled down. But looks like it has a lot of flavor. Going to be kind of a Muskets and Tomahawks type of a feel.
How many tanks?
Oh, as many as you can cram on the table.
Really?
No, I don't
For
know.
that game?
I don't actually know, to be honest. If anything, it was hard at first because there wasn't much promotion out about it, and they didn't have, there weren't gameplay videos, and the first ones that came out were in French. And then I got into Harvest, and then I just haven't come back to it yet, but I figure there'll be some more. They're on the Facebook group. They have a pretty good group, and people were talking about, they were going to get some videos up soon, or they'd gotten the game and they were going to get, so that'll help me see kind of how it plays. But that was really those are the only rules I picked up this whole year, and I don't think any of my focuses have really changed. Although it is interesting, the 15 mils got me kind of jazzed. Not that I'm at all switching scales or anything, but it's a lot more fun than I thought, and I've not painted other manufacturers or anything, but these Old Glory 15s are super fun to paint.
Nice.
So that's kind of been my year. Part of my time, I guess, I didn't get as much done miniature wise as I have some years because I got distracted by by my other hobby that I kind of restarted this year that I haven't touched in basically decades. So that took up some time just through the summer months, but
the tractor cades.
Yeah, that got into my antique tractor thing again. So that was a little bit of a fun. Like Tim said, you can't do this, necessarily the same thing every day. Well, some people can, but I have lots of interests, so it was nice to kind of bring one of the other ones back. But yeah, I'm still this is still my happy place to come sit down here in the basement, usually late at night after everybody else is in bed and I can't be working anyway, and I just put on a YouTube video or a movie. I guess I was watching Gettysburg earlier in the week, and then last night I started The Free State of Jones. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah, Free State of Jones, Matthew McConaughey. That's based on a true story. That's a really good movie. Kind of some Civil War stuff to get you in the.
Yeah,
in the
I watched Last of the Mohicans 2 days ago.
Yeah, there you go. Doesn't that gets the juices flowing, doesn't it? Especially, I know you like. That's one of your favorite movies, I know.
Yeah, well, it's definitely the one that I like from that period.
Yeah, I guess that's what I mean.
Well, and it's an action. I mean, I'm not like a historical buff.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Only so much. I mean, I've read a little bit, but I do enjoy that, just seeing the visuals and.
Yeah, I agree with that. Anyway, that's
Clyde Dashing joined in. Just wanted to say hi.
Oh yeah, hey Clyde, howdy. He says.
So who's next?
So we're talking about this past year first, correct?
Yeah, past year,
this
like, your hobby and your gaming, reflecting on your hobby and your gaming, and all that stuff.
Hobby-wise, I had a fairly productive year. Got a lot of stuff painted, like especially for my English Civil War stuff. I did a lot of that. And what did I do before that? I'm trying to think about. I did so much English.
Weren't you doing some ancients? When were you doing some ancients? Weren't you?
You were this year for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm just trying to remember which army it was.
Yeah.
Might have to go back. I've got so many of them. I know that I was doing some. I think I was working on some ancient Greeks for a while. Yeah, I did a few ancient Greeks because I got some in with a warlord order. I got some of those sprues, and I had a couple of sprues built up. I did some of those. I bought an awful lot of stuff this year. That the whole idea of starting this Viking project was to, delve into my big pile, and I bought years and years and years ago when Wargames Factory was in business. They had come out with a Persian sprues and stuff, and what they found was that they had done them wrong, and there was one arm on the entire sprue that was really short, and you couldn't really use it. And so they just jettisoned all these sprues for they're like $1 a piece. And you had like 7 or 8 dudes. I think it was 8 to 10 dudes on a sprue. And I thought, well, I can't pass that up, but the heck with that arm, I'll just arm them up as something else. So that Persian army became my very first Ancients army that I was painting.
No way.
And I did a horrible job on it. And it was just so basic and horrible. But now that I've got a lot more, experience with it, I actually broke down and Victrix had a sale on all their Persians. So I bought a bunch of their stuff. And I never thought that I had a big enough Persian army anyway, because it should have been, all their armies were really massive. They weren't that great, but they were massive. And I never had enough models. It was always like even up between them and my Greeks. I have more Greek troops than I do Persians, and on the table you really shouldn't have that. And unless you're playing a specific asymmetrical type of game. So I bought a whole bunch of that stuff. That's in the closet. I've still got a Gaelic army I bought early last year that I haven't even broken into yet. Yeah, I think a lot of it was English Civil War early on, just trying to get everything back up to numbers to where, so I just have somebody over to the house and we can just play a game. They don't have to bring anything. I've got everything they need. Just show up. We'll have a game. And that's my goal. Because I know how much of a pain in the butt it is to pack everything up, especially ancient armies or large scale armies. And it's such a pain. You got to pack everything up. You got to haul it somewhere. You got to haul it back and then deal with all the breakage that happens in between, just because,
spears
the more you move,
and cavalry and
yes, lances and everything else that get broke. And so my focus is I just want to have armies that where if one of my buddies come over and we game, they don't have to bring anything. They don't have to bring anything at all. They just come over. I got dice, I got measuring sticks, I got the armies, I got the terrain. We're just going to game.
Right.
And I find that I get a lot more takers that way. If I say, you don't have to bring anything, I got everything, come on over. And
well, you're removing one of the biggest obstacles to gaming, miniature gaming.
Yeah. And it is. I mean, I enjoy the painting of ancient armies and all that kind of stuff. And so to me, it's not that big a deal to paint up 2 forces of.
Well, it's a collection for you too, because you're big into it. I mean, you're big into the ancients, and so.
Oh yeah.
So it's a collection, right?
Huh?
It's a collection for you too.
Oh yeah. And I got all kinds of books on the subject. I love reading about it. It fascinates me, the entire ancient world. When you think about the size of the armies that they fielded, at that point in time and the level of population available to draw
I know, right?
those forces from at that point in time. And then we did not have armies of that size again until the Renaissance period. And it's fascinating to me that the change of if the Justinian plague had not happened and set man back as that black plague ravaged Europe and the East and just the entire hemisphere that our ancient history takes place in, what would the world have been like if that one incident hadn't occurred? It's just fascinating to me that there's this there's a break point. Like we were so much at one point heading in one direction, this thing happens and it's almost like a reboot where we have to redo it. And that's why the ancient world fascinates me. It was so large and complex, and you think about the distance and time of travel. When you read about like just say Julius Caesar, and he takes 10 legions from Rome and just takes them across the Adriatic Sea. Well, you think about the numbers of that. How many transports, how much food, how many boots and straps and swords, and just the amount it would take to field that, just the industry alone. You think how massive the world, and when you read it, you don't get a sense of the actual time because they say, well, he did this and then he wound up here. Well, what was the time frame between him starting loading all these guys? Again, was it like, you make it sound like they jumped on an airplane and they just flew over there, but it wasn't.
Sorry,
like
Tim.
it took
Who is this
time.
sort
It took planning and organization. It's very, I don't know, that whole part of it interests me. I mean, the battles are fun and they're fun to put on the table, but when you think about basically
logistics of it,
logistics of that time period and what it took to move 70,000 guys from Italy to the Balkans, that's quite an operation. That would be a big operation today.
We probably
And
used
they were
Amazon,
doing it.
don't you think?
Do what?
Amazon, exactly.
Probably used Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a new guy in the room today, Swords and Saki.
No, that's
Hey.
okay. He's trying to sneak in.
Yeah. Hey, Josh.
Oh.
Thanks for joining us.
He's relabeled.
Got a new channel.
Yeah.
Now, last I looked, he was up to 11 subscribers.
I was
Well,
number
Tim,
2.
what I got from that was Ancients was this year.
Well, and then I jumped to my English Civil War.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. My English Civil War, that's a big deal for me. I love that time period. Again, I've got enough for two forces on the table, and I'm still adding to it. I got a lot of terrain for that time period, and that I had several games of that this year. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
Who did you play? Like local friends or?
Yeah.
Cool.
One of the guys I've been gaming with for almost 30 years. You know? Okay. Yeah, we go way back. And but see, that's the sad part and the fun part about it is like he and I are about the only two left out of a group of 12 at one point in time. And we had a store at one time and it was all right, but it wasn't that much. But that's kind of where we all met. And then it just dwindled. You know, life gets in the way. People get married, move, and all that kind of stuff, or fall out of the hobby for whatever reason. They just get tired of it. And so it's just down to my buddy Kurt and I. Every once in a while we get together and have a game. And but now I'll tell you about what we're going to do next year. But yeah, as far as this past year goes, I've had some good games. Did a lot of good painting. Just very enjoyable when you don't have to worry about, somebody bringing a bunch of stuff over. I think that's my goal, is just to have enough stuff available to where just come over to the house. Got everything you need. Don't worry
It's
about
nice too because you can have it based exactly the same as far as frontages or unit
Yeah.
sizes, or so you're ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, and that way you don't have to try to do the extra math of like, okay, I've got these guys on these bases, you've got them on those bases, so we got to remember that.
Yeah, it just
Yeah.
works easier.
And I normally do my stuff to where I can put bases, the bigger bases together if I need to.
Yeah, use some
Like
savage
most
bases.
of my Vikings are based on these Sabat bases and stuff. Where like
Oh yeah.
I'd originally done them so I could, and magnetized so I can take them off, and then they don't fall off and stuff when I'm moving them around. I originally had done those in units of 12 for Saga.
Yeah.
Because that was the base size of the average troop. And then I just kind of kept that. And then, so as I started getting more like the idea of doing a Hail Caesar games with them, I thought, well, I just put 2 of those 12s together and make a standard or a large unit out of them.
Right.
Whatever I wanted to make. Because in the first edition of Hail Caesar, they had a thing in there that it was either frontage, or they had a chart in there that had model count in it.
Okay.
Well, in the second edition, they took the model count part out, so now it's all just strictly frontage stuff. So, but anyway, I like having enough stuff, and that's how I like to do these guys. Like if I wanted to do a skirmish version, then I can just pull them off the base and do a skirmish version of it. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that way I don't have to. I love multi-basing. I really got into that part of it. Like a lot of my English Civil War, they're all multi-based.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's hardly any of the Sabat bases in that army, but almost every one of these, both the Saxon forces and my Vikings, are all on these Sabat bases, and that way I could, like I said, I originally used so I could do skirmish games and that kind of thing. So, and then Warlord had that thing like Shield Wall that they came out with first. That's kind of a Dark Age Viking rule set, where
Right.
it's more about the individual model than it is the unit. So it is kind of more of a skirmish version.
Okay.
Uses basically the same stuff. You just reduce some of the stats down for a single person rather than this huge unit. It's kind of fun. I've played it a couple times. It's fun. But that's another reason why I put them like this, so I could do games like that if I wanted to. But I originally started for Saga, and then I thought, well, I had so many of them done, I thought I'm not going to change up now, and I'm just going to go ahead and base them all this way, and that way.
Yeah.
And again, like, well, if I go to sell the army at some point in time in the future, it's just an added option. They're all magnetized. They're all ready to go. You can leave them on the base, or you can pull them off and use them as skirmish models as well. So you don't have to worry about cutting them off a multi-base to do a different kind of game that you may be into, that you don't want to do massed battle. You want to do more skirmish. So that's why I base them that way. And I can actually, if I want to, put 2 bases together, and all of a sudden now I've got a really big unit. So
that's how my Vikings are too, because I play Saga, and I'll probably do something similar if I pick up that game that will be mentioned later.
Oh yeah.
So, or depending on how, I don't know how that'll be, but we can talk about that later. But yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, so it's been an eventful year. You're actually pretty productive, Tim. Like, I've been horrible this year, but you've been actually.
Really... Oh, I know one thing you forgot to mention, Tim, or maybe you didn't. Your Song of Ice and Fire, you finished that.
Oh yeah, right? I did. Yeah, I did a couple of things of that this year too. just to break it up. I did a couple units early this year, and then I did.
You just did
I
some not too
finished
long
up-
ago.
Yeah, I just finished up the Golden Company, the models that I've got for that, and that basically probably put the end to my collecting of that. They've got a lot of extra stuff. They're coming out with stuff all the time, but I'm just not really interested in the game system anymore. I just kind of wanted to finish it off. Well, basically because I had a war elephant, and I like painting war elephants, so the unit got done just because I had to paint the war elephant, and yeah, I just war elephant. Why not? You know, and so I finished up that collection. I'll probably, I don't know if I'll ever play that game again unless they come up with a different rule, because it's just one of those super expansive and it's always changing. There's always a new cards and new stats and trying to balance all that stuff out. And because if you think about all the different factions that they have in the books, they're cranking them out for the game, and it's just one thing after another. You just can't keep up with it, and it's I'm just not driven that way anymore to chase that sort of meta, the change. You know, I just want to have a nice looking table, a nice game set up. You know, whether it's an asymmetrical game or a balanced game, and just play the game and have a good time. You know, just play the game and have a good time. That chasing the next new thing, I can't do it anymore. I literally cannot do it.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah. It does. It reminds me of the way that, GW does, where they're, they make a change or they brought out a new army, and then all of a sudden everything you had done up to that point for years, just no good. Sorry for your luck.
It's like, hey, I got the new army book. All right, I built my army. It's looking good. And then they come out with a new one that kicks its ass, and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
I got
Striker in the house. We got a full house tonight.
Hey, Mel's in. How's the new house, Mel?
Mel's got a new house?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
All right, Mel.
Cool.
Yeah.
Ask Mel if does he have a gaming room in it?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
He
say.
says he has to get it set up. But I would have helped him move, but I can't lift more than 10, 20 pounds. So kind of.
Well, that came in handy.
Speaking of which, how is your back, Rusty? Is it progressing the way you want?
There's good days and bad days. Today's not a bad day, per se. But then again, I haven't done much. I got to make sure when I just light up my truck, to get in, I turn it on and the heated seats and stuff kick on beforehand. So it's toasty. Yeah, so I get into a cold. It's like my whole back. I notice it more with all the hardware that's back there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they say that'll happen. Even if you get a knee replaced or something like that, it'll get cold.
That's one thing I never thought about. That metal getting. Is it possible if it's inside your body like that to actually get physically colder than the surrounding flesh?
Well, it's near the surface, so
yeah,
I would think it actually feels like I can feel the temperature difference. It seems to get colder quicker, maybe.
Yeah, in my mind, that's very rational. Yeah. Well, you got this big lump of metal, and obviously it's not going to conduct heat very well.
Yeah, it conducts heat well, and it conducts cold well.
Yeah.
So when you hop in a cold vehicle, it's like you're pressing that cold seat. It's because I got leather seats, and that can transfers cold really easy.
Yikes.
Well, Rusty, before you go on with yours, I was just going to ask the people in the chat, for those of you that are joined recently, because we've had a few, right now we're talking about the last year and what we've been up to, gaming and hobbying. Like, what kind of this year look like for the hobby and the gaming, which sometimes can be the same, oftentimes, but sometimes not. And Rusty's still going and I'm going, but maybe you guys could just mention what you guys have been primarily doing gaming and hobbying this year. And then we have another topic that relates to next year after this. Rusty, what about you?
Well, obviously my year started off on a kind of a painful. It started the year before that in 23 with all the time I spent in the hospital, then with my back. So I didn't get a lot of gaming in, but I still tried in the beginning of 24. I was working on, Jesse and I were working on getting both the action armies put together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I had the Waffen SS, we had the Japanese, and
North Korean, right?
North Koreans. Yep, we had the North Koreans for Korean War. And what was the other army? So I did add to my Russians.
Yeah.
Which I did get those painted. Let's see. Oh, the Americans. I do have. I added to my American force that I still need to paint. Because I was working on all that, getting it all ready to work on that project. And then the old world kicked in. And it's like, and I did a 180. And then this, getting that all set up, because I went full bore right into the Tomb Kings.
Mm-hmm.
Because that book came out and it just got me just all juiced up on that.
Yeah. You were going. That was kind of like hold my beer.
Yeah, like don't get in my way because I'm gonna run you over. It's like I had a whole bunch of miniatures for that army that was like, okay, I'm just gonna finish them for once. I just motivated to actually work on them because now it's like, hey, the game's back. And so I finished my Tomb Kings army, which Palmer got to see in person. On the table.
Look great.
And then I had my surgery, so I was basically homebound. I was like waddled down to my after most of the agony wore off after about the first 10 days or so. I was able to get down here and I'll just sit at my desk working. And that's when I finished off the Tomb Kings and went right into the Orcs and Goblins, which got me through, I think, June, July.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And it's like working on those pretty heavy. Actually, I was working on the Orcs and Goblins all the way up to when we had our big game in September.
Right.
Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun. It was nice getting together and actually playing some Warhammer Fantasy, which that was my favorite game system to play back in the day of all the Games Workshop stuff. And it was nice to do that. Throw some dice. And it was like, oh yeah, it's like it's starting to come back. The memories coming back, how to play this game. Even though some of the tactics have changed, some of the rules have changed, but the concept is still there.
Yeah.
And like the 100 or so of fantasy games that I played, it's like, oh, let's get the ball rolling again. It's like that first night that we played the first day we played that test game with the Bretonians.
Yeah.
And then we had the Bretonian game that night. That was fun.
Yeah. It was an undertaking. We were trying to really get as much out of it as I think we could because we had limited time, and so we played a lot of gaming. Like it was like 2 12-hour days in a row. So within 48 hours, 24 hours of gaming, which honestly, I don't know if I've done that before.
If you ever go to Origins or Gen Con, I've done that where play 12-hour days. I've done that. Didn't do that for 4 or 5 days straight.
Wow.
you by the time you're done, you're like, I'm done. I don't want to throw dice for a week. It's like I don't even want to look at a game for a while. I need to take a break. But no, it was nice. And then I've been working on the vampire counts. After that, our game got over. Started working on vampire counts. I pretty much have them done. Other than I got 2 models left of the vampire counts to finish, which are these guys. I don't know why I haven't finished them yet. 2 necromancer. I got a vampire and a necromancer. I got to finish.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, old classics. Oh, that's
Kemmler.
Kemmler. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then
One of
this
my
guy,
favorites.
Kemmler, and then I got the old style vampire.
Yep. I've got that
Do you
same
have
one.
Corel that goes with him? Remember Corel?
Oh no, I do not have him. That's one I never did pick up. I was mostly into the Tomb King style of the undead. But I do have some of the old vampires and necromancers from back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
But
yeah, you played,
right.
You played back in the day when it was all one thing, right?
Yeah. So you could choose whatever way you want to look at it.
Undead, right? Yeah.
It's the undead armies. So, and then they was it 5th edition around 2003. They split everything into 2 armies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept on the I didn't really go down the vampire counts army very much.
Yeah, I didn't either. I switched right over to Tomb Kings as soon as I saw them. I thought vampire counts couldn't hold a candle to the aesthetic.
Yeah.
That Egyptian aesthetic was just, I don't know. It was just too cool. I was smitten hard with that.
Yeah, there's something about it that just appealed to me. And I didn't mind the vampire counts. It wasn't my jam, though. It's like I would pick a few models up here and there, but it wasn't, I got to get every one of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did pick up in November the Lord of the Rings, got some of the orcs models for Mordor. So I have some of those, which I got to work on, finish that, painting those armies up. And then I got to put this War of the Rohirrim box set together. That's another project for this coming year that I want to work on.
Boy.
So I want to play a few games. And I do have some terrain here. Yep, this 3D printed terrain here.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
that's very nice.
Yeah, so I got some files. This company, they have a bunch of files for it. It's like a whole cityscape of files.
Cool.
So eventually I will have a bunch of these printed off. I have to scale them down to get them to fit on the plate. It's like normally this is a lot larger.
Oh, okay.
But it doesn't fit on so you have to shrink it down to it actually fits. So that's the one thing. So, and then my son, also back in November, he was like, "Oh, I've always been a 30K Horus Heresy fan, and my he wants to get into playing Horus Heresy, so that's why I've been working on this Death Guard army, and I have to basically now I guess I'm going to have to assemble and paint his First Legion, the Dark Angels army for him too. Because his girlfriend is more important than to assemble his army.
No.
That's weird.
Yeah, I know. It's like strange.
What kind of
Wow.
nerd is he?
Yeah.
I know.
It's get in the way.
Man.
My goodness.
Never heard of such a thing.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Next thing you know, she'll make him go shopping with her.
Oh, God, don't
forbid.
say that out loud.
Hold his purse.
Oh,
But that Stitch model I did up. That was for his girlfriend. So
Oh, okay. I didn't know who it was for. You said it was a present.
yeah,
Lilo and Stitch.
yeah. So that's so maybe next year I'll do Leo.
Yeah, that's cool.
I thought it was crazy that I've never seen the movie.
I've never seen the movie.
Like
I haven't either.
Nope.
I'm aware. I know what it is, but have not seen it.
yeah.
For what that means.
It's not new.
And I
Nope.
just
It's been around a long
in my
time.
drawer
Yeah.
while you were talking, Tim. And you were talking about War Elephant. And I have a 15 mil War Elephant
Uh-huh.
somewhere in this drawer, and I couldn't find it, but I did find this little guy.
What is it?
It's a little grenadier model,
You're so little. Oh,
Oh yeah,
Oh, look how tiny that is.
nice.
little shaman.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Very
I was
nice.
like-
What does it say in the bottom?
Uh,
Can you read it?
I got it filled in because I had it glued to a base at one time. I can't read it really well because it's filled
Yeah.
in. But that's an old grenadier model.
Uh-huh.
I think it's a what the heck is that thing? It's not an orc shaman. It's I think it's a dwarven shaman.
Hmm.
That's
Cool.
way small.
yeah.
Well, that's pretty much my year in review.
Nice. Well, one of the things, mine's going to be pretty simple because this year wasn't too diverse, but I did actually write some things down. These aren't even things that I play as much, but in thinking about this year, someone made the comment that it'd been a really big year for new things, and I never usually have like a really good sense of that always. Let me take, I got you still on here, mono rusty. There you go. I never really usually have a good, big sense of that, but you have the Bolt Action 3 rule set come out. We had the new Lord of the Rings rules, not just the box, but they've updated the rules.
Yeah.
New kill team for 40K. There's a Halo game that's come out. I know Age of Sigmar had a big spearhead kind of thing, which apparently is a big deal. I'm not sure if there's a total new rule set for that, or if that's just the spearhead is the new rule set. I thought that there was maybe another version that came out. We had the Old World, which how could I forget that? Like that was another one. And then Tim talked about this Two Fat Lardies game, the Viking fantasy game, in the last show. What's the name of that again, Tim?
Midgard.
Midgard.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just scratching the surface, to be honest. I think there are more as well. And other people know of new games that just came out in 2024, miniature games. But I think it's more than usual as far as the updating and like the new releases of old systems. It was kind of a big year, it seemed like. And that's kind of influenced a lot of people because like many of us on here have gotten the Bolt Action game. Rusty's got that Lord of the Rings. I'm not sure if you're planning on getting that too, Dan, but I know you already have a lot of it. And then we have like the Old World, which people have gotten into. So a lot of people even just here have gotten new stuff this year. Looks like Chris said that Midgard is awesome. He's played it, so I'm interested to learn more about that.
I'm still
Yeah,
I'm still waiting on my rule book. It's like it's on a slow boat.
I'm interested. I didn't know about it, so I'm interested in that too. But for my year, I just thought I'd open up with that. I'm interested in what other stuff has come out. And by the way, I'm not sure, Josh sounded like he was heading out maybe 7 or 8 minutes ago, but just take care, Josh. Thanks for stopping by. We'll go through the comments soon and kind of catch up. But I started the year off in the middle of doing Bolt Action. I was doing Warhammer Fantasy, prior to that in 2023 quite a bit. But I actually made it a point over the winter, which I oftentimes get an itch to do historicals in the winter for some reason. I don't know why. But like I just go back to it. And so just like now I am doing with French Indian War. I finished off my Americans that I had for Bolt Action that I painted maybe 8 years ago. I painted most of them. And then I had some extra tanks and just some extra teams and stuff that I had finished off. And so I painted that. And also, then most of my time has been all Warhammer Fantasy, Old World. So getting into the new game and just basically, granted, summer came quick after the release. I didn't start playing it till March. And summer came really fast. And that's been mostly my year. And I think I'm really enjoying that, and I don't see that slowing down. However, having said that, I think I've done enough gaming in 6th edition and playing Old World now this last year that in addition to that, I am having an itch to do other things.
Excuse me.
Yeah, and so I think getting back to French Indian War and doing some other projects is a way to sort of just kind of mix it up a bit. And so, that's kind of what I see for the foreseeable future is getting back in, doing some historicals, a little bit of historicals, and then continuing on with Old World because I really like it still. But that's for last year mostly it for me. Old World was if I can keep a purchase of a new game down to once a year, which still adds up really fast, like even with that. If I can keep it down to once a year, I'm doing pretty good. And Old World was a lot of purchasing, and a big purchase, but just the one purchase for this year.
Yeah, that's fair. but it wasn't impulse.
I like that rationalization.
You played it, and you knew you'd use it and play it and build it and paint it and.
Yeah, and it was fun. It's kind of like what you were saying earlier, Dan, about, I play a lot of things that are just outdated. Like I was playing Warhammer Fantasy 6th edition when there was no like actual like kind of community except for like the 9th Age and other stuff going on. But it was just pockets of people that still played like myself. But I don't always thrive on the next thing, or whatever. But once in a while, when you're biting, at new releases coming out, right? Like you're just really excited. Everybody's kind of interested in them, and it's what you're playing. It's kind of fun to get caught up in it once in a while.
Yeah, I mean it does. I kind of feel like you're part of something, and if it's something, like Old World where you're kind of passionate about, and most people got some nostalgia about it, was just kind of like trying to tap into some of those old, memories or feelings or dreams or whatever, from that. So I think that was. That played a role, and that's cool. I mean, that's part of what makes us human, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It is.
I'd say about the Old World is I haven't bought anything new. I just dig out of my antique stores.
Well, you got the rules.
Yeah.
It gave me a
much
chance.
of an investment, so.
Yeah, I bought a few of the 6th edition Bretonian things because I didn't buy any 6th edition back in the day, and all the eBay stuff had gotten crazy high, so that actually worked good. Just picked up that's the only thing I've ordered from Games Workshop in literally probably 20 years. Was a 6th edition box of Knights. Other than I guess I did keep up a little bit on the Middle Earth stuff, but
you got some of those metal models though, right, for Bretonians?
Yeah, I got yes, I did that when they did their made to order.
Yeah.
Did you ever get your made to order? They were the old
ones. What?
Have you got your made to order stuff?
Yeah, I got it literally like 2 days before it was going to be 180 days, which is what they guarantee, or not guarantee, but they say it can be up to. It literally was up to. and I got it sitting right here where I can see it. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. That'll probably be the thing I do after my ACW, unless I got to pay a couple of units. I guess we could talk about next year, but
yeah. No, it's fun, and like in all honesty, I'm not sure that that's the thing that's putting them above the their shares up, but. If you're saying that you got your box of ice and you got some blisters of metals, then you obviously bought the rule books, which it's not a huge investment, Rusty, but it's not nothing. Those books are kind of expensive, but I don't know what they really make their money off of. Oh, look, we got a cat there. I think that's the first. Tim's cat up there.
Moose heard everybody talking, and he had to come in and see what was going on. Curiosity.
There you go. Awesome. Look at it.
All right, Moose.
So, it might be the thing that actually just that's kind of what they were hoping for, is to get people like yourself to come out and start buying stuff again.
Yeah.
And
that's all good.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, why don't we go to the comments real quick, see what other people said about their past year. And so I'm just going to go back here for a moment. So just coming into where Mel had come in, I think we were talking about his house. He says, not bad for cheap ass work for whoever did the plumbing and bathroom. That's unfortunate.
God, yeah. You can get into some really weird stuff when you buy a property and you go to, first thing you do is you start working on it, and the first thing you do is you're like, what were they thinking?
Yeah.
Like,
he says water pipes on the outside walls. Not good for states that have winter. That wouldn't, I tell you, in Calgary up here in Canada, that wouldn't probably work.
That wouldn't fly.
Oh no.
Was the plumbing on the outside wall?
Exterior wall.
Oh boy.
Hobby work room is all set up. Game room is still in the idea phase.
Oh,
there
cool.
You go.
That's a great place to be in when you're thinking about all the stuff you want to have in your game room. Oh,
yeah.
God.
Yeah, the planning is half the fun. Dreaming.
I tell you what, Mel, if you need a 4x8 table, I know where there's one sitting.
There you go. That sounds like an offer. This year, BattleTech and learning resin printing, he says too. So, well,
Who's
BattleTech.
That? Who said that?
Mel.
Oh, straight.
That's Mel.
Mel.
Striker, yeah. So, BattleTech, I guess that's time for a bit of a beverage here. And then learning resin printing. So I think you know somebody also that knows a little bit about that.
You would think.
Rusty does a lot of that.
I've shut my printer down after printing off those two figurines, man. That's like, I got to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem with that. Yeah.
It is.
Like, I have a probably another 50 Legionnaires that I need to assemble that are going to be for the for my son's army that I need to put together. That's time consuming.
Strange cat.
So I saw a putty tat.
Chris says, I made so much train this year.
I thought he wanted to go away, but it's like he does this thing where he likes me to put my hand over his face, and he just put his head in my hand, and I just keep rubbing his face, and he just keeps coming back for more. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So what terrain has Chris been working on? I guess maybe I don't remember.
Yeah, he says so much terrain this year and a fair amount of painting, but mostly terrain.
I mean, that sounds familiar.
So Neil says, no gaming this year. A good bit of painting when I think on it. 4 ACW regiments, a cannon, a church, a bunch of skeletons, some 40k Marines, and NIDs. No, I've seen that you've done a big mixture of disciplines or genres this year.
Yeah. Yep. Very cool.
Yeah, I like that too.
That's really good to keep yourself fresh, though. That changing up just genres, like some sort of fantasy or space age thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It is fun. Chris says 2025 is going to hopefully great for hobby. I have new printing set up starting in January. Hopefully games of TC and back to my working on my rules. So TC, what is that again?
What was TCB?
I know I'll probably know it when he says it. Do you guys know offhand? TC.
Coming up blank.
TC.
Well, he'll probably say it in the comments in a second. So Josh says, I have to head off for work, guys, but don't worry, as I snuck in a couple of sneaky musty drinks. Thank you to all do for entertaining us and with your chats and topics this year. Thank you, Josh, and thanks very much for
Thanks,
coming out to the show and
Always
hanging out on the page. Have a wonderful Christmas and New Year with your families. You as well.
Yep.
And that's what Mel says too. Midgard is awesome, and I have played, says Chris. So
I'm so jealous. I'm jealous. All these people get to play. I don't even have to book it.
I gotta look it up, see how it works on YouTube. Mel says Legions Imperialis came out this year, so that's another one. Some small scale 40K, kind of like an epic style.
Yeah, I've looked at it. Well, we looked at it when it first came out, but we decided not to at the time.
Yeah.
I know that epic scale stuff is extremely popular. They came out with the Romans this year.
Yeah. Romans, Carthaginians.
Gallic Wars or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's Warlord Games, right?
Yeah, that's Warlord.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot of that. That's true.
Yeah.
I've
got their Napoleonics. I got the 2 starter boxes. Haven't even cracked them open yet. Whenever I think about doing Napoleonics, I get nervous. I get the shakes because of the uniforms and stuff. I was like, I don't know if I'm even ready to start that.
I'm not built for that.
Back when I was painting 15, well, Mel painted 15 mil Napoleonics too, but it's like I cannot imagine doing it at 28s. If I'm going to do it again, it's going to be in the that small scale. So there's not much details you have to worry about.
Clyde says adds up really fast. I think he's talking about when you're buying more than one new game a year or even a new game every year. Chris says, I bought a lot less new games this year. It was nice and printed less minis and printed more scenery to play more games.
That's good.
And Clyde says, I got a steam tank.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to have one of those. I mean, come on. If you got Empire, you have a steam tank. Or 2.
Yeah, so he's talking about the old world, I think, and no other GW orders. Chris says, huge Bala 28 millimeter city table. So that must be the terrain, Dan, when you were asking about the terrain.
Oh, cool. Cool.
And so his next comment, I think, is going to go into our next thing, but it's actually one that I didn't bring up on this, and I had it written down on my list, but I had it at the top of my iPhone and tied it in a big black bar, and I think I just didn't look at it. Trench Crusade is actually really all the rave, right?
Oh, yeah.
That seems to be really popular.
Yeah.
So that's what the TC was.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought about supporting that Kickstarter.
Yeah, that Kickstarter was wildly popular.
It seems to be.
It looked really cool. Just not something I need.
I watched some videos on it where guys were kit bashing like medieval stuff or World War I stuff, and it just, with that variety of look, I think it'll be pretty awesome.
It seems.
And then they got dedicated models for it too. You don't even have to kit bash your own. They have actual dedicated models for it. So
yeah.
Well, it reminds me of the Warzone models from back in the day.
Oh,
I don't know that one.
God, I haven't even thought about Warzone.
Yeah, it's like I still got the starter box of that and a bunch of the models. So it wasn't. Let's see.
Chris said he made 4 warbands for it. That French Crusade.
Oh, cool. It hasn't been delivered yet, isn't it? Wasn't it just kickstarted here?
Yeah, I think
Am I
so.
wrong? Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, if it's the Kickstarter, if the resin stuff might have been kicked loose already,
Oh, yeah, that's possible.
because they can just release STLs for it.
Yeah.
Looks like we got Rob, the Jank Master, in the house. Hello, sir. I don't know. He said
Oh,
Bahas, Bahaus. I'm not sure what that.
Bahas! Hurrah!
What's that?
That's part of Warzone.
Oh, is that's the Warzone?
Yeah, that's the Warzone right there.
okay.
Got some Imperial Berets here, baby.
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
so that's
Yeah,
a new game, Musty.
Hey,
Huh?
Rob. Got to see
That's
that.
a new game.
This is from
Yeah.
the 90s.
That's
That's what I was
old.
gonna say. It doesn't look new.
No, this is old school, man.
Something you've had sitting around.
Yeah, there's
Probably.
some. I've totally forgot it. They've just been sitting on this shelf for the last 25 years.
Nice.
You're not allowed to paint museum pieces, are you, or not?
Yeah, well, you know, they're
Cool.
metal. They're nice metal models too.
Very cool.
These things haven't seen the light of day in 25 years. They've just been sitting there.
Just waiting for you.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Trench Crusade has the same writer as Mordheim. Is what?
Yeah. Yep. It just looks
Chris
really
Bank.
cool to me. It looks like a winner.
Clyde says more interested in a War Transformed. So another game.
Yeah, I've heard of that one.
I've heard of it. Yeah. There's just so much out there now.
Yeah.
Keep
So yeah, one of the factions of Warzone. That's what he was saying. Hello.
This is from
guys.
98.
Okay.
98.
98.
STL is soon, and rules for playtesting have been out for just over a year for free.
Okay.
And then I'm going to count 90s minis as a new game. Is what Glenn's. Okay.
Wow.
Fair enough.
I have some Vor the Maelstrom on my table, says Rob. And he also wrote 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy, says Chris. So I didn't realize it was the same guy because I played Warhammer.
Yeah, wasn't it Andy Chambers or who was it?
Okay.
Is that right?
Oh, well, if that's Andy Chambers, it'll be
It's
some
a
good
huge
stuff.
name like that. Somebody fix me if I'm wrong here.
It's amazing when you dig models out. I just found some 285th scale M1, or not M1s, but Leopard
Not
1
Andy.
tanks.
Chris said, who is it,
Sure.
Chris?
John Blanche is in there. And
Yeah, his artwork is in there. Oh, yeah. Thomas Perian, or however you say his
Okay.
name. Sorry, my bad. I blanked first. Yeah. I was reaching for old GW names.
Okay.
Quality cast.
Well, we are getting pretty far into the show, and we haven't started our second topic, but I think this is probably a good,
Good starting place.
a good, yeah, exactly.
Holy crap.
Guy who designed Wording in 6th edition. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
So
knew that.
next topic is very similar to our last one, but we're just going to talk about what we want to do for next year, like how we see the next year going, and what things are coming out, and if there are any coming out next year that you're interested in. I'm not sure if that's the case. We're not always, as a group here, we're not always the types to be jumping at every new thing, kind of like what Tim was saying earlier. I think most of us here, we buy new stuff, particularly if it's like an updated version of something we already play, but we're not like trying to get every single thing that comes out. And so we might not be the best examples.
Yeah,
I can't speak for you guys, but that's my interpretation.
Yeah.
No, that's me.
You can't even keep up with it. I look at it as it's kind of like, remember Oprah's favorite thing? You couldn't do all of Oprah's favorite thing. We can't play all these games. It's just, I've got games, rule books I've collected that I still haven't even hardly cracked plastic off of yet.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I haven't even read them. And then we have all these new games like Trench Crusade. I really want to look into that. But where am I? How am I? That's 2 more armies I'm going to have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of a skirmish game, though. I mean, you wouldn't have to paint much, from my understanding.
Okay. Is it kind of like a
What?
kill team setup, you think? Or is it?
That was in my limited perusal of it. That's what it looked like to me. But
Oh, okay. That would be good. That would
But
be good.
I'm not that knowledgeable on it.
I just saw one video where some guys were talking about they have like different factions and things. So,
Yeah, and the
yeah.
artwork looks cool. It looks
Oh yeah.
it looks
The aesthetic is
intriguing.
really appealing.
Yeah, John Blanche, you know.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So, who'd like to go first for plans for next year as they see them right now?
I'll go.
Okay.
Next year, obviously, first off is going to be Midgard with
I
all
thought you
my
were going to say
Vikings.
Trench Crusade.
Obviously.
And yeah, well, that's a possibility. That's one of those that's going to be on the list. But my buddy Kurt that I play with, he has a large collection of Star Wars Armada, and I've never played it. I love the models. I mean, the models look awesome. I don't know anything about the game, and we're going to start playing some of that. We've been dabbling into BattleTech again.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it figures about the time I sent Rusty all that stuff in a trade, one of the guys says, "Hey, I saw this game called BattleTech." I go, "Really? You've just discovered BattleTech, huh? Where were you 6 months ago? And when I still had all that stuff." But I'm trying to convince them that we need to stay about 2030 to 2050 pre-clan, and
okay,
and so it doesn't get really outrageous. So, but that's going to be on the horizon. Obviously, there's going to be more Hail Caesar games, but I think the newest part will probably be going back to BattleTech a bit and Star Wars Armada. Just
nice.
And what really outside of my norm.
Well, I'm actually kind of jealous on the Star Wars Armada because I played a lot of that, and I don't play right now. I don't like most of the folks that I used to play with aren't playing at the moment, but I have a ton of it and I love it.
Yeah.
It's such a fun game. So it'll be fun.
Oh, I can't wait.
It is great. It is
he's
really
got he's got like 2 shelves. He's got the great big ships and stuff, and
you'll love it. You'll love it.
It's awesome. And I thought it was so funny. He was complaining. He says, "Yeah, I've got all this stuff, and I just don't think I'm ever going to play it." And I said, "Well, you've never asked me to play." I'm over at your house. All you have to say is, "I want to play this," and I said, "Yes, we're going to play this. Don't get rid of it. This is a game I've been interested. You've got enough stuff." Like when he comes over to my house, like I'll set up ancient games or my English Civil War. He'd have same thing. All I got to do is show up. He's got all the stuff, and I think
that's great.
Yeah,
it'll be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that. I really am. I'm looking forward to that a lot.
And so it's the Armada and the I'm assuming you'll play some Ancients too, like.
Oh yeah.
That's a given, right?
Yeah, that's kind of a staple. I'm itching to get my Greeks and Persians on the table, but I now that I've got the new Victrix Persians, I don't even want to bring out my old ones.
Yeah,
because they're such janky looking models compared to the new stuff for Victrix. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, that'll keep you busy because you're doing the Midgard too, so that's a fair bit.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. Yeah, I got some trips I got to take next year, and yeah, I can't wait. I mean, it's gonna be a busy year. I think hobbying. I think so.
Yeah. Nice. How about yourself, Dan?
I'm always careful about. I mean, I like to go wherever the winds blow. As far as if I'm feeling it, I'm feeling it. I guess big surprise. I'm gonna kind of my plan is to stick with what I'm doing. I'm not planning to. I'm gonna try to, which I didn't buy much this year as far as miniatures, and I don't plan to. I have plenty of stuff from Eptonians. If I want to start my undead army, I've got everything I need for that. So yeah, and as far as the things that still the projects I'm still wanting to accomplish or continue on with the ACW. Get back to my Bretonians, maybe my AWI, expand on that, and bolt action. And as far as game wise, I'd like to play some more old world, and I'd like to obviously get some bolt action in. And I think that's probably going to be that'll probably end up being my focus.
Well, that's a fair bit, though. I mean, like,
yeah,
it's kind of insulting to say for you, but you really do like to focus and drill down in a big project.
I do. So, like,
you could do a whole year on one thing without any
Oh
issue.
yeah, and who knows? Maybe I'm still loving this when I finish the starter army. I did pick up just a couple extra packs of things when they had a sale here than last year that I could or whatever, but I might continue on with that and just kind of I guess the thing I like about a project is I like to immerse in it, and then it's nice too because I know my painting recipes, and I write them down too for when I quit, like at least some of it, so I can easily go back to it. But once I've got the kind of the paint sitting here, I've got kind of my system on this side, I've got my base coats, and on this side I've got my shades that I'll put in or highlights, and it just, if I keep doing it, it just I don't really get burned out on it. I like seeing the army grow.
Since I've not been drinking, I can't confuse myself of losing my mind here or whatever, but wasn't there a show where you talked about an Alice in Wonderland game?
Wizard of Oz.
A Wizard of Oz. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah,
that's what I meant. The flying monkeys. That's what I meant. Right?
Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
And so what's up with that?
I'm still, and it's funny because as we were talking about games coming out, things that everybody's excited about, or that's about the only one that I see somewhat tempting. The reason that I think I can resist that is it's essentially just another large scale. It's basically sort of Napoleonics, essentially.
Oh, okay.
They're large units of 28 millimeter. I think they're largely like, like your infantry. I don't know if it's like 20 or 24 in a regiment, and they look like to be a yes. Now you're talking my language. They look like they'd be a blast to paint, and there's just tons of miniatures, tons of different factions. The game looks like it plays cool, and then the people that make the terrain, they'll go to the dollar store and buy these or to like a pet shop and buy these just sort of fantastical, mushroom houses and all that stuff, and it just looks like like you said, like Alice in Wonderland. It looks like it'd be just a blast to paint and play. But I figured to scratch that itch, essentially, I've got my AWI, which is a similar concept, and then I've got if I want the smaller scale ACW, or Old World. So I just don't. If it was a skirmish game, like Burrows and Badgers or something, that's something you could do quick and squeeze in, paint 8 or 10 things and have a game. But I don't think I want to chew that off. But that does still super intrigue me, though.
I was wondering about it. I kind of forgot about it, and then when you were talking about new stuff,
I
got reminded of it.
What's the name of the guard? And the Emerald City. What's the name of the guard?
Aren't they? Gillikins is one of the factions, but they're. We got the Munchkins, but I can't remember actually. Maybe last winter is when I was last really getting tempted and kept putting stuff in a cart and taking it out, and like you do. We've all been there.
Roll your D20 and see if you make your saving throw.
So far I made my saving throw, and then I just come down here and I look. I've got the other thing I could work on is that I have that board game that's sort of a advanced hero quest thing, that Shadows of Brimstone I've talked about before by Flying Frog Productions, and I've got tons of miniatures for that I could paint. I have tons painted. So I've got so much that I'm really passionate about, that I'm really excited about to paint here. I'm trying just to not get excited, like Tim said, the new shiny thing. I've got I've got plenty to do that I'm excited and happy about. So, so I'm going to try to just kind of work on what I got. And I think I'm there. I mean, I've got my collections, the fantasy stuff. I haven't gotten anything off eBay there for quite a while now. And the made to order stuff kind of filled in my Bretonians and my undead. I've got everything from 4th edition up to, through 6th edition models that I could make a really nice size, diverse army.
Huh?
Undead,
I knew you had Lizardmen.
Yeah, and then the Lizardmen. Those are the only 3 armies I've collected. I don't have a model for any of the other ones, and I don't plan to.
Well, that's still a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly,
it's more than I can get to.
If you ask yourself, have you ever been planning to play any more games than you're planning right now? Because I would think that in the last year or two, you've probably picked up a couple here and there that, and even with what you're planning on doing, like you've got like the AWI, you've got the Civil War, you've got the Bolt Action, you've got the Old World.
Yeah.
That's 4. Is there any other ones that I missed?
You mentioned Bolt Action, right? And
yeah.
Essentially, let's see. And then I which I should do sometime. I need just maybe 10 or 15 miniatures on a side, at least with the old rules, to play. I've got 2 factions for Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah, and there's Lord of the Rings 5.
Yeah.
Which factions do you have?
I have Moria, and I don't even know what they call it anymore, even though I have the current rule book, the old current rule book on the shelf. But it basically the elves. It'd be like the
Lothlorians or
the other ones. Why am I blanking?
From one from Rivendell.
Yeah. Rivendell is that? I think that's what they even call them. That faction.
Yeah, they're like.
So I've got like Elrond, and then I've got it's from the old original with all the guys standing with their swords up like this, the plastic elves from the Second Age, I guess they call it.
Nice.
When they defeated Sauron and got the ring, but so that's those. I just really try not to do anything else. I guess I got.
Sense. That's a lot.
I know, and I've got War Master stuff I've collected for years. So
there you go. There's number 5 or 6. So you're really getting up there, Dan.
That's what I mean. Without expanding, that's why you could see why I'm hesitant to try anything new. It just isn't. But I mean, I do it even if I never played the games. I'd still paint the armies. I just enjoy that. That doesn't faze me much at all. I'd like to play, and I hope to play, but if I'd never played, that would not bum me out.
You got to just consider it as there's always a chance you may play it, and so you might as well just anticipate playing with them, which makes it more exciting.
Well, frankly, that's what got me soldiering on through the Bretonians, and then my different Bolt Action factions was. All of a sudden, if a game presents itself, like all of a sudden you were coming to the States and we got together, it's like if I had to paint that up quick, that was going to happen. So I always know it's nice to, and on my AWI, I've got a pretty solid Continental force. That's what I played against Rusty. And then I started, I've got 4 regiments done for the British. And so I started painting up that. So then it's always nice if you actually even have 2 sides. So like just even one of my brothers or something, or a friend or something could just randomly come over and play at some point. So I don't know. It's just, I like the collecting of it and watching the armies grow and just, I don't know, just looking at them. It's just weird, but that's what I get a charge out of that.
I'm going against my earlier comments as we're getting towards the end of the show. And then after we're about falling asleep at this point, I opened up my rare tawny port that I opened up on the show once for have a little bit of port, this 20-year port on the last episode of the year.
You're portifying?
The end of the year, you gotta
Battletech.
There you go. Double drink.
Get him a straw.
Yeah.
How about you, Rusty? What is the gaming plan for you in your mind for next year? Anything different?
Well, I have some goals in life here. Obviously, I have this new Lord of the Rings system
Yeah.
that I want to get. I assembled my Mordor force and got it primed. So I have those guys that need to be worked on, and that's the goal. But I didn't paint them mostly because I knew that there's a new rule set coming out. So I wasn't motivated to paint them yet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's. And I also, at the time, I wanted to get my vampire counts done and work on Christmas items too. But now that this box set is here, I think
Calling your name.
yeah, it's like I need to get work on it, and I want to get these armies painted up so I can maybe get some games in.
Mm-hmm.
Because
You could probably get some games in at the game store or not.
Yeah.
Potentially while it's hot and new.
Yeah, it's now that it's hot and new, people are actually going to be motivated to play it. I did get that one game in with the dwarves versus elves.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you said pictures up.
Yeah, so that was interesting.
Cool.
Kind of figuring out, but that was with the old rules, and I wasn't overly motivated to really learn those rules and get myself
confused.
Yeah, that's smart.
So I was kind of holding back on that. So now that the new set's out, I can start delving into that.
Yeah, that's smart. I don't know if they're changing the rules a lot. I haven't followed that. Sounds like the way the army lists or the army list options have changed some. That's what I'm hearing, some people grumbling, but then supposedly they're coming out with another army book with like the legacy lists, and I don't know. But
yeah, that's one thing I heard is people are complaining. Like Jesse, he has his dwarven army from Erebor.
Oh yeah,
Lonely Mountain. He has that force. A lot of them in there. So he's was kind of. People are saying that it's been nerfed really bad and it sucks to play him. And it's like, well, don't get rid of him. It's like just because some people are saying they're nerfed doesn't mean they're actually maybe nerfed. Maybe just a handful of, maybe a couple of units got nerfed. But
yeah, or maybe you got to change
also,
how you play.
Yeah,
and you never know how it's going to go in the future too. But
yeah,
if you already have something painted up.
When you one thing I've always learned is that just because you think they're not as good doesn't mean you understand how they play now.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
You have to figure out a different tactic of how to use them, and they may just be just good.
Fine. Yep.
And that's what I found over the years with a lot of Games Workshop stuff. So you just have to figure out the angle of attack with stuff.
Yeah, I think that's going to be true in bolt action as well. They made some major.
So any other thoughts, son? Oh, sorry, Dan. I didn't.
Nope. I was interrupting. Sorry.
Yeah, and then I'm also looking at bolt action. I have a bunch of armies that are assembled. I need to just sit down and paint.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's coming out next month is the Armies of the Imperium for the old world.
40K. Oh, old. Oh, you mean the Empire? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about
Excuse
that.
me. Yeah, that is. And I didn't mention that. I guess I mentioned. I didn't go yet, but we have all the new armies that are coming out for next year, the different ones, starting with Empire.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. The dwarves did come out. When did the dwarves come out? Was that October?
No, that was actually
it was earlier.
Earlier than that?
After the orcs, so late spring into the summer, right?
Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, that's
I think
it was like
it was.
Yeah.
They came out with them pretty quickly after the orcs. And
Maybe I'm thinking, and maybe it was the chaos.
Chaos came out.
There you go.
Right?
That's what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
That'd be right.
It's like couple armies I already have a bunch of painted models for, so I wasn't too ambitious to go out and find anything new. Not to mention Orders of Chaos are kind of an elite force to begin with.
Yeah, no doubt. Usually, anyway, used to be.
But now with the armies of Empire Man, I do have a whole bunch of unpainted models for that. And I got all my halberdiers I need to still paint. I got a bunch of archers I still got to paint. And thinking that maybe this might be the time actually to get the Reichsguard unit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, that
So you-
might be something I want to work on for the coming year.
Any
Yeah,
other?
obvious-
Go ahead, Rusty. Sorry.
And obviously there's the ACW that needs to be worked on. I hear, what was that? What went wrong?
Wasn't me.
Tim, I think it was. Oh, it was
Oh,
you. Okay.
yeah, I was painting. I stuck my brush into the wrong paint.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
It was both of you at the same time.
I
So,
heard
any
it.
other new and shiny, Rusty? That any other new and shiny that you're interested in, as far as new games coming out at all, or?
Or something you
guess
want to
the-
try.
Well, obviously
got a lot.
Bolt Action and Lord of the Rings. That's the two
Yep.
new shiny things.
Yeah, fair enough.
And they're both sitting here because I got the rule book sitting here and I got this new box set. So that's the two things that are on my agenda.
Well, let's see if we can get a
Nice.
game in this winter.
Let me know.
Well, before I do the comments, I'll just kind of just mention my thoughts for next year. For me, obviously, Old World is going to be a continual. I'm actually looking forward to when Beastman gets released. I think when the Beastmen get released, I'll see if there's some stuff that I can pick up that maybe that I don't have, that I never got, and because I don't have every single thing. There's definitely still stuff, that I don't have. I'm looking for some Razor Gores. I don't know if they're gonna come out again, or not. But there is some stuff that I wouldn't mind getting. And then outside of, I wouldn't mind looking at the High Elves too, because I have a High Elves collection to paint, and I wouldn't mind getting some stuff that I still don't have for when I do. But beyond that, I'm looking at getting back into French Indian War and doing some French Indian War gaming for next year. So that's nothing new, per se. But I'm looking at doing that. I'm looking at playing the Bolt Action 3, and then after I play for a bit, and I've played the game with my Americans, if I'm really liking it or just have the itch, I'll look at one point in the year, maybe later in the year, starting to paint Germans, because I've got a German force to paint.
Yeah, thought so.
And so that we'll just see how that goes. And then I'm actually I bought into this is a little fun thing for those of you that like Blood Bowl. There's a wrestling game called Rumble Slam, and it's made by TT Combat. Tim's it's not new, and Tim's shaking his head, he knows it. I actually bought into that with a friend locally, and I'm looking forward to playing that, just painting up a couple little, it's a small model count, a couple little teams. And I looked at it, it looks like a lot of fun. Like, it's kind of like Blood Bowl in the sense that, like, the crowd cheers, there's a cheer die, and there's like a lot of stuff that just kind of makes it interesting. And it's kind of containable. It's a shorter game. I think you can play an hour and a half pretty easily. And so that's kind of nice. Something you could it's one of those games that you could play in a sitting. You could play 2 games if you wanted to, which is kind of fun. And then even if you're short on time, just play a quick game.
So what's the excuse me? What's the setting? You know what I mean?
I don't
Is
know
it
a lot. It's fantasy, actually, if that's what you mean. It's,
okay? Yeah,
it's
essentially.
And the neat thing is they do have a lot of like human characters that are throwbacks to the real, like the old WWF and stuff. So like they have like lots of like
fun.
if you grew up in the 80s or the 70s
Yes.
and you like those wrestlers, like you remembered like
Oh
as a
yeah,
kid, Yeah. They have it. They have a Randy Savage kind of guy. They have
Yeah.
like a Rowdy Piper kind of character. Like they have that kind of stuff, and so that makes it fun. And that's really, I think, what it's supposed to be, is just sort of a fun game. But then, like the starter set comes with orcs and a troll and goblins, and then also on one team, and then an ogre and humans and like halfling and stuff on the other. So it is sort of the fantasy still, but it was done with a lot of humor, I think, in it, which I think is fun, and I think that'll be a fun distraction. And aside from that, up until today, I hadn't heard about this Midgard game. I'm going to take a look at it, but I think it's mainly going to be old world French Indian War stuff, bolt action, like this Rumble Slam game, and maybe something else, but that's not too much else for me. I think I'm pretty happy with that. It's a lot of painting right there. I could paint just Warhammer Fantasy all year round and not have any trouble. I've just painted the other stuff because I just liked the other things too. That's the only reason. So that's my expectations for 2025.
Cool.
Hobbying and stuff. Let me get to the comments here. Well, we'll start with, I think mustaches are it for 2025, says Jankmaster. Gee, I wonder what he might be referring to.
Oh my.
And Chris says, I hope to get in some games of second edition Musket Tomahawks this year. That would be really good. I actually really would like. I still haven't tried the second edition.
I haven't either.
But I own it, and I kind of reviewed it and everything looking through it, but I never actually took it out. I really like the first edition, and I really like Sharps Practice. That's kind of where I'm sitting, is more on the Sharps Practice side of things, but I wouldn't mind using it and playing the second. They have some interesting changes that came up in the second one that I've not tried out.
Yeah, I've only played first edition, but I have the second edition as well.
It's an easier read, probably, and a bit clearer.
Yeah.
But having said that, I really like the first edition.
Me too.
Yeah. Neil says, my ACW rules are Johnny Reb 2, an old set. WW2 Micro is still 70s WRG or Firefly. It takes a lot for new rules to grab me. I can imagine. It's so much stuff coming out. Clyde says, sure would be nice to finish my 90s purchased High Elf army that is still sitting in boxes. We'll see if I can get around to it in 2025.
Talk about vintage.
Yeah.
We'll have to compare notes, because I've got one too. Old school High Elf army in a box. Rob says, I'm starting 2025 with Vampire Accounts.
Yeah, I knew he was. That's cool. Good for you, Rob.
Yeah, he told me how he really liked the screaming, like, the screaming mechanic or whatever.
Well, yeah.
And so they're doing really well in the meta. Actually, it's good to play a Legacy army now, as not only when they're playing halfway decent, but also knowing that they're not at this point going to support them going forward. I'm kind of the same way. Actually, I didn't even mention it. I guess I mentioned the Old World, but I've got the Chaos. I do also Legacy army, and I think it's good to play a Legacy army while you can. They may bring them back, but we don't really know when, and so it's possible that there'll be a period of time where they're supported a little less. And even if you can use the old book, if you don't have a new one, everybody's getting updated books. It's good when they're felt to be doing halfway decent right now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Chris says, I've been really working hard on my gaming, RPG, and the virtual tabletop. You know what that is from one of our earlier shows this year? Tables, so I can play games. That's cool. Mel says, for 2025, I'll be working on the Battletech Kickstarter stuff. I have an Allegiance Imperialis, which he'd mentioned earlier, and is on the plate, but who knows? OK is starting to sound good, too. What is number OK? What is that? Number OK is starting to sound good, too. I'm not sure what that is.
Coming up blank.
Rob says, I missed it. What starter army are you painting, Dan?
It's the old Glory 15s Confederates.
Cool. Neil says, for 2025, planning on finishing phase 1 of my ACW project at least. A brigade for each side, plus 3 Union and 2 Confederate guns. Also a bit of terrain to go with it. Sounds like a good plan.
I like it.
30K.
Oh, is number okay? Oh, that was just a 3. The number got put in there by accident. Yeah, I didn't see that. I think I'll be play testing my rules. Chris says more this year as soon as I'm done with work safe government crap. Yeah, real life getting in the way.
Yeah, what a bummer.
This is in reference to. Oh, Rusty, you got something to show there? Cool.
Oh yeah.
Nice. I show mine, but all it is with the hands and the faces painted across like all of my grenaders. My mimosas.
Mimosa Grenadiers.
Just call them troops.
My soldiers.
There you go.
I think this was related to the Wizard of Oz, Dan, but Mel says, I wonder how the lollipop kids would fare in battle.
We represent though.
You're a lollipop kid, a lollipop kid.
Neil says, remember that crap when I used to work for the USAF? I'm sure that that probably was Chris's comment about the work safe stuff.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
And Mel says, I wonder how the lollipop kids. No, I think that's a double post. Okay, 1 second. Mel says Tumos was part of that too, I believe, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I think he was too. Tumos Purianen or Purianen. How do you say his name?
Rob says, I'd be shocked if the Razor Gores will be in metal. Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know. I don't have any of them right now, so I don't know. I mean, I was shocked when they, like, once they do something and it becomes old news, it's not a shock anymore. But when they release the old giant, you know, the metal giant, and then the orc shaman on the dragon for the Orcs and Goblins release, like, to me, that was shocking.
Me too. Same.
Like,
I came inches from ordering that.
Well, it's shocking though. I mean, like, I wouldn't have expected them to do that. Like, until they did it, it wasn't something they were going to do, in my mind.
Well, I was even surprised what they did with the Bretonians. I mean, that 5th edition Pegasus Paladin, I couldn't believe they brought that.
And the mercenary ogres for the Empire?
Yeah.
Like that old Marauder sculpts?
Oh, and even the old trolls for the goblins. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The rock trolls and the swamp trolls, right? I mean, dang it.
Anyways, I don't know. You probably have better reasons as why they won't do the Razor Gores, other than the fact that they're just old, Rob. But I was shocked about that other stuff. There was some channel. There was a channel that had some Rumble Slam content at one point, says Jankmaster. Rob. Yeah, no, you're right. There's a couple of them that had some like bat reps and everything. And I don't know if you guys remember Justin. He actually comes into the Facebook page once in a while. But he actually did a lot of. I actually contacted him recently and was chatting with him about it because he's the one that originally got me to consider Rumble Slam, and he did a lot and still plays it. And he also likes Blood Bowl, so it's kind of like a very similar, feel to some of it.
Yeah.
And so there is some cool stuff. I mean, it's been around a while now. They've supported it, so I think that's kind of cool.
That is cool. I've heard of it. I just didn't know really what it was. Excuse me.
Chris says, I'm still... Oh, sorry. What's that?
I was reading Chris's that you were just starting to read. I've heard there's a lot of a positive buzz about Midgard.
Okay, I'm probably going to watch later tonight Bat Rep if there's one, or how to play, because I'm actually really interested in it. Too Fat Lardies is such a great company. Like, they really do great rule sets.
Yeah, well, they didn't write the rules, if I'm not mistaken, but they're selling it through them.
Okay, so then I can't assume that then. I don't know.
Yeah, and again, I'm pretty sure I'm right on that, because there was a lot of the stuff was going on kind of late summer into the fall when I was starting to get busy, but I was seeing that was my impression, and somebody else can sure tell me that, but I think that's true.
Mm-hmm. Rob says, what are you missing for the Beastmen? Well, the Razor Cores, for sure. I'd have to really look at it. Definitely there's some heroes, like 1 or 2 heroes that I'm missing. And I have to think about it. I know the last time I looked, there was still some stuff. Like, of course, since I just got some Furies for my Chaos, I can use those as Harpies for the Beastmen, but I didn't have those until recently. So I'd have to go through it. I am fairly complete with a lot of it, and
did you realize I'm on solo mode still? Right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Rusty.
A good side profile shot of Rusty.
You had a long reign there. Like, it was like a good 15 minutes of just Rusty there working away.
The master.
So I actually got the Cockatrice and the Jabbersay just recently. I didn't have them, so I might have to do, like a bit of a, what do you call it? Inventory, just to see.
Yeah,
I gotta look at the new Cockatrice, because I got the old one that's from the 90s. The Cockatrice.
Rob's saying funny guy. I'm getting old enough that I don't even remember what it was that it said. I think it was something that I'd said earlier in regards to him. I'm not sure.
Sadly, you're the young guy on the floor.
Yeah, I know. I think it's just me snorting chemicals.
That's probably what it is.
These damn kids.
Dude.
Get off my lawn.
Bats and Skellies. That's what Shankmaster says. Ogre Kingdoms. I'm not so sure that's an area you want to delve into, unless you really like them. The models right now, they're a hard army, I think, to run. But but the rule of cool is important.
Yeah.
Whatever you like.
Yeah.
Well, I had started building a Ogre Kingdom army, and then when they nuked Fantasy, I turned around and unloaded that army right away.
Mm-hmm.
I thought you would have burned them or something, like.
Oh yeah.
Ran over them with your car, or like the videos.
I like money.
I know.
Yeah.
You make good choices, right?
Yeah.
I got a really large Ogre Kingdoms army, actually.
Do you still?
Oh, nice.
All right. Yes, I do. Oh, joke.
I'll call 911.
That was a gut buster there.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That straight Dr. Pepper just about did me in.
Mel says 30K. He was referencing his thing earlier.
Okay.
Tupo. By the way, Warmut has joined the chat. I'm just getting down to his comments here. Hey, Warmut. And he's another person. He's the one that, even though Justin got me thinking about Rumble Slam in the past, seeing Warmut's videos on Rumble Slam, because he plays it, or has it at least, recently have made me kind of pull the trigger, because I just picked up.
I was thinking Warmut, isn't he working on some ACW now? I was thinking I just caught one of his
doing
videos.
A lot of stuff. Yeah.
Just like this last week or so, I saw a video and I thought that's what he was doing.
He's saying he's late for the show. We are getting towards the end of it here. Yeah. He says, I know I'm late. Got home from checking out the lights with the family. Nice. It's that time of the year.
Yeah. Good choices.
I'm getting ready for Fritz Winter Warmer Paint Challenge and the Analog Hobby 15th Annual Paint Challenge. Cool. It's awesome.
Yeah, maybe I'll use Fritz's Winter Warmer Paint Challenge to basically plow through my ACW.
Mm-hmm. Connection dropped just as you started on the giant.
That might be a good excuse to work on my Empire.
Yeah. Oh,
all I said, Rob, earlier was that when you said that you'd be really surprised about them releasing the Razor Gores in metal, all I said was you may have a reason, truly to believe that, like a good reason. I was really surprised when the Metal Giant and the Goblin or Shaman on the Work Wyvern came out. Like, to me, until they did that, if you would have asked me that they were going to do that, I would have laughed at you. Like, if they were going to do the Marauder Giant and that also, then we kind of went in and we talked about some of the other metal models they've done that we were just really surprised that they're re-releasing. Like, even, the Marauder Ogres for the Empire and stuff, the old ones.
Yeah, and some of the old trolls from the Goblins, the old Marauder. That's been impressive. I'll give them credit there. I mean, and in general, I think their pricing, it's enough money, but it's not like insane in my opinion.
It is better than what you get on.
I mean, it's affordable if it's something you're passionate about. It's a chance to pick it up cheaper than eBay brand new, right?
Yeah.
But anyways.
So Rob says, I think that the precedent is that once they submit it in Finecast, that sort of sets them in motion for Finecast for new releases. That's true. Yeah, I think you're right. Like, if they, and you see, because I haven't really looked into how it's been released, I didn't realize that it was Finecast, but I would probably buy it in Finecast. Forge World Finecast or whatever, if that's the only way I could get it, just so I could play the game with them, even though I would prefer the metals. Okay. Warmut says, thank you for minimizing Rusty. I was getting tired of looking at his ear hole.
You're looking right on through the other side.
Yeah.
Rob says, old cockatrice is the best. I have one of those now. And then Jabberscythe is in resin. I have the newer one in resin. Dude, Rumble Slam has some very cool minis. I would agree. I think it's fun. Actually, they kind of almost have a little bit of an old school look to them because they're not like overly hyper detailed. They have some nice sculpting to them, and they paint them nicely from what I could see. But they're not like they're not trying to compete with like the Age of Sigmar minis and stuff like that, like that kind of stuff.
So is it like an arena game where you like put 5-on-5 or something?
It is, and like I actually have not really played. I've only just recently started to look at it. But you have like a certain number of dollars, which are like points, and they call it something else. They're not called dollars. World, they have a different name for it, but you can use like a different number of minis based on your allowance, but it does often come out to be like something like 4 or 5, whatever, depending on as a team. And it is like an arena game because you're in a ring.
Okay.
And you can also jump off the turnbuckles and climb them and stuff.
No way.
And bounce off ropes and stuff like that. You can do they have all the moves. Like all the wrestling.
Okay.
And it's cool because you spend like action points to be able to do stuff, and you roll like each character on their card has like different colored dice that are better or worse that you roll based on abilities and stats. But you also have like a boo and cheer die that you roll in order to get the crowd responses, which affect how your character can operate.
So are you using weapons or are they just like fists?
No. It's
just literally wrestling.
Yeah, we're going back to Rusty's ear. Here we go. Precision and miniatures, soft metal casting. CNC.
What is that?
285th scale Germans.
Oh, nice.
Lord.
These are martyrs. These are Leopard 2s. More Leopard 2s.
My goodness.
Let's see what these.
Why am I not
these
surprised?
are Leopard 1s and Gepards.
Cool.
All the stuff you're seeing in running around right now in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah.
When I dug out those Warzone models, these were stuffed behind them.
Oh
gosh, it's like Christmas it's like an Easter egg hunt in your house all the time.
I know. It's like I was just dug something out. I was like, oh my God, I forgot that I had these things.
Oh.
Orman says, I have the TT Combat Arena. It's like an MDF arena for the wrestling thing, built in 2025, and get some games going. I will have to. Yeah.
Cool.
Dan, think of WWF, but with minis.
Yeah. Okay. now I've totally got it on the right channel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get
Yeah, it's kinda
ready to
cool.
rumble.
It's fun. I just think sometimes it'll just be fun. I actually, whether it be, we were talking about Armada earlier, and whether it be like X-Wing or Armada, like sometimes I like to put down a game that's less mini intensive and just kind of less like big battle, like, because I like the big battles, like, and stuff. But sometimes I like just to put a small game down and play a game, and it's just a different feel. And this will be kind of completely different like that.
Yeah, it's been ages since I've done something like that. Just like 5 or 10. I don't even know. Wow.
It's very accessible too. Like the rule set, the rule book, 2 different teams, all the dice, all the tokens, and a mat that's like a wrestling ring. It's like a mouse pad mat kind of thing, or a mat. All of that is like, I'm going to say for US, it's something like $45 to $46.
Oh, good grief.
And you can actually play it with 2 different people. Like you can actually have 2 teams to play and all of that. And then you can buy expansions, and play like with another team. Or they also have like individual minis you can buy to add. Like,
how big is the play area?
12 inches, I think.
12 inches. No kidding.
12 by 12.
So you can
Sorry, Tim. I missed that.
Play that in the car while you're traveling.
Tim, what'd you say?
I said, like tag team, like
Yeah.
That's what I remember. They had the tag teams. Yeah, and you got to touch hands. Oh my gosh.
The Royal Rumble.
Used to watch that when I was in the 70s.
Oh my god.
Oh, Chris says my less mini drop in game is Hero Quest, like playing a game with less miniatures. Yeah, that's good.
God, that's an old one.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
I noticed they came out with that re-release.
Yeah.
It was popular, it seemed. Well, gentlemen, we're at the 2.5 hour mark.
That's not bad. We've went over longer than that before.
Yeah, we have. That's true.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Rusty's at the space station.
Yep, he's ready
Mr.
to move on.
Freeze.
Looks like Carl Sagan or Bill Nye the Science Guy.
Yeah. Rusty is
I am a
billions
professional
and
astronomer.
billions of miles away.
Rusty's going to tell us our horoscopes.
That's not astronomy. That's astrology. Come on, get your stuff together, man.
Sure.
Well, anyways, we start the season. We still have lots of season 8 to go. Like, it's not the end of the year for us, although this is the end of the year coming up. But we've got lots more to go and of season 8. And thanks for everybody for coming down. We had a great group of people tonight come in.
Some new faces. That's good.
We always do, but it's always usually good. But it's great to see some different faces stopping in. And
absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. And
oh man, yeah. It always makes it go better when they're adding in what they're doing and stuff like that.
And straighten us out when we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I find. We usually have to keep ourselves in line when it comes to the information we're sharing. The comments help us.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's always
good. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. I guess we won't have a show till after the new year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
2025.
Yes. Next show will be in 2025.
Wow. May your stockings all be filled with the minis that you want.
Well, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, everybody.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, we will see you next time.
Night, everyone.
Good night.
Everybody.